Hello everyone. During the 8th CN anniversary livestream, something very peculiar was shown for a brief amount of time. Some kind of new game mode. And like what seems to be an actual game mode instead of a supplementary side thing like Project Identity, Private Quarters or the new island mode they've been showing. Those are fun little character interaction things and more power to you if you like them. But this looks much more like a proper game mode, something which this game desperately needs. Unfortunately, all we have to go off of is this single screenshot, and what they had to say regarding it. So let's lay out what we know. Its name is Mirrored Simulation, and according to the hosts, characters will have completely different stats and skills to what we've known for the past 8 years. That's not a lot of substance to work with, but we can at least overanalyze the screenshot they provided for our baseless speculation. So let's do that. Front and centre is a 5x7 grid made of bestagons, with 5 ship girls deployed on it. Each girl has a display above their head featuring a fleet size indicator, usually reserved for enemies, and a pair of bars. The top bar has multiple colours, being a little over half green followed by a small purple section, and the remainder being orange. If I had to guess, this is to represent the associated girl's current HP, though why particular colours and ratios were picked is beyond me. Could just be an early development thing. Below it is a smaller bar, split into 4 segments. Notably, Cheshire has expended some of this with just over a single piece remaining. As for what it could be, perhaps a resource of some kind. Maybe in this mode, skills are active rather than passive, and that resource dictates how much a player may use them. If that's the case, the player would likely be able to regain it over time, as shown by Cheshire having a little over a charge left. The fleet size indicator is rather strange though. Everyone is marked down as small except for Cheshire and Anchorage, who are medium and large respectively. Usually it's used to assess the strength of a mob, but the humanoid fleets don't get those. And given we were likely working with individuals instead of fleets here, this whole idea may be out of the window for this mode. Perhaps it's used to indicate something else, like maybe there's a way to upgrade your girls and the number of arrows corresponds to what upgrade tier they are. Moving to the right of the screen, the hex grid continues on off screen. There's a 1 tile gap between it and the grid on the left, likely due to this being some sort of deployment phase. Once gameplay starts, that gap will likely fill for them to move forward. Overlaid on top of that is the deployment limit. In this stage, a maximum of 8 girls can be fielded at a time, with 5, soon to be 6, slots taken. Further right than that is a series of icons for other ship girls not present on the rest of the UI. Best assumption is that they are the enemy, and the 4 greyed out at the bottom have been depleted. Not entirely sure what's going on with the numbers, perhaps therefore enemy health or some similar piece of information. John Bart's is notably different, being larger and white instead of black with a darkened background. Makes me think it's for a cooldown of some kind. Perhaps that's how her skills work? At the bottom of the UI we see what looks like deployment slots, featuring Cashino in slot 7 and Anchorage in the process of being deployed from slot 1. Interestingly, the number of available slots is higher than the stage's limit. Looks like the cap might be higher on later stages, or maybe they're accounting for losing someone in mid-fight. To the left of those slots is a 3D model of Akashi looking out onto the game board, with a level and coin count below her. The fact she has a level and a tile beneath her makes me think she's a hero unit of some kind, with 12 coins being her deployment cost. There's a similar empty slot on the other side of the screen that is yet to be opened, requiring 28 coins to do so. However, there's nowhere else visible on the UI keeping track of the player's coins, so perhaps a number below Akashi is a coin count instead of a cost like I just hypothesized. Along the left is what's usually auxiliary equipment, and maybe that's how they function here too. Perhaps something a player would equip during battle to provide passive benefits, like small healing with a repair toolkit, or reduced fire damage over time with the extinguisher. At the bottom of the auxiliaries is a repair icon, whose purpose is obvious, but how it would be used and any kind of restrictions are up in the air. It could be infinite uses, it could be a once per stage thing, kinda like the free daily repair and revive. Up top is a progress bar of some kind. Initially I thought it was a health bar, but that makes no sense. I think it could be one of two things. Either a timer for how long is left to make alterations to your plan, or a display of the player's progress through the stage. Given that some enemies have already been defeated, and some of Cheshire's meter is spent, this could be the beginning of a Phase 2 of this stage. Admittedly, how much the bar's been depleted doesn't really fit nicely if it were the latter, but again, this is not final. The number next to it looks to be a sort of written countdown. 29 is a strange number for it to be unless it's some kind of remaining enemy count, and it's right next to the meter. It being a timer is probably most likely. Inside the bar is something interesting. The stage name, in this case 4-2. Once again, I have two ways of interpreting this. 1. It updates between rounds, giving a written indication on what part of the stage you're on. Example, Stage 4, Round 2. The second option is that this is the second stage of a world, sector, simulation, whatever, 4. If that's the case, we'd be looking at bare minimum 8 stages, since they wouldn't do a naming scheme like this if each world was just a single stage. This mode is looking to be quite substantial if that's the case, which is good. Putting it all together, what could we be looking at here? Personally, I think we're looking at something more tactics orientated, as opposed to the shoot 'em up we're familiar with. Like we'd select a fleet of say 9 going in, then choose how we deploy them and command those ships in battle when gameplay starts. Perhaps it's some kind of auto-battler, where the player can strategically activate the girl's skills, or use auxiliary equipment as they advance mid-fight. Or some other kind of strategy game. Fuck it, Azur Lane themed Fire Emblem with hexagons instead of squares. The new stats and skills will be interesting. Maybe some previously overlooked or fallen off ships will get a new chance to shine here. It should go without saying, but don't take anything I say here as gospel. This is all wild speculation on my part based off of very limited information. Form your own opinions from staring at a single screenshot for too long, or wait until new information comes out. Honestly, it's kind of exciting getting a new major game mode like this. I wasn't around when Opsi released, and didn't play the mode when Chapter 5 dropped. We're in desperate need of something new to shake up gameplay and keep things interesting. There's only so much grinding the same stages or relatively uninteresting event maps before things get stale. Anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this new mode and what it could be, so leave them below, and until next time, fair winds and following seas.